Welcome to Timber&Terra. I'm Glenn, and I do not know what this video will look like because, like a lot of things this time of year and actually through the winter, or maybe always, it depends on the weather. So it looks nice and fluffy white, but the problem is underneath this white snow is mud and slush and unfrozen ground, which is the nemesis of winter logging, is unfrozen ground with snow on top. But there's a couple things I know I can do. One is to transition from using my four-wheeler to sort of my mobile shop to my tractor. I know there are some we've had some heavy, I think 2, maybe 3 storms of heavy wet snow that have really done some damage with the gray birch and my cedar, because they're rather weak and they easily bow down, bend over with the weight. So I think I have some roads that I need to do some clearing on. But for now, I'm going to transition my stuff from the four-wheeler to the tractor and take off and see what happens. Drink. One of my goals is to finish up the wood for next year. The wood for this year is all in the woodshed, but for next year, to cut up the 12 or 15 cords that I'd like to get a year ahead. I have a lot of wood out back there I've cut along the stone walls. That's a previous video. The trailer fits 1.5 cords to 2 cords. This particular trailer load is 1.5 cords, and that last half cord rack finish that up, so I can take that and move it over here. But as far as getting any other wood to process into firewood, that's my challenge that I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be able to take that trailer back and bring back a large load of logs, because it's going to be so heavy that the tractor will spin or the trailer will just sink into the mud and cause a muddy mess. Ideally, we like the cold weather to come before the snow. Things freeze up, the snow comes, you can pack down your roads, and it makes for really good roads, easy to travel on, good traction. But now you get down below the snow and it's just muddy. But I'm gonna I think I'm okay with just taking the tractor out. I may use my winch. We'll see about that. I may be able to cut some more firewood logs, but I don't think I'm going to be able to bring many back here to process. I built that attachment last winter. That's also a video. It's shaped so I can push logs into a pile that I pulled out, mostly with the winch or any logs to pile up. And then the vise is just a handy way to do work with my chainsaw. So this is all as soft as it is during the summertime. So it limits my ability to do stuff, particularly with heavy weights, because it's puddle of water. And I know this road has all kinds of puddles just like that all the way through. But what I think I can do without doing much damage to my roads is taking care of stuff like this, a gray birch that just got overweight, because most of the snow that caused it to bend over is now either fallen off or blown off or evaporated. So for the next several days, it's supposed to be above freezing. This is not the most ideal conditions to work in either. My preference for wintertime work is the mid-20s because it's warm enough not to get too cold, but it's cold enough where you don't touch something that has snow on it and instantly get wet, which in the case of now, which is right about freezing, 35 degrees maybe. Yeah, you touch something with your gloves, you brush up against something with your leg, your arm, it's just going to get wet. It's no fun. But it is what it is. Make the most of it. So let's take this tree down. So with these curved trees like that, I need to make sure the tape goes with the contour of the log and not just sort of from beginning to end, because you'll end up with a lot more than 16 feet if you go as the crow flies measuring your 16 feet. So here I ended up with two 16-foot firewood logs, and the top was actually probably a little bit longer than 16 feet, but that little bit I cut off when I process it. So this over here is called the slash pile, or just tops. This is just one small tree, so it's not big. There's some slash underneath it from trees that I cut last year. Guidelines vary, like in professional forestry jobs, as far as how high the slash can be. Sometimes they will specify that it can only be 2 or 3 feet high off the ground. Sometimes operators will either cut it up with a chainsaw like I did to get it down to a decent level. Sometimes they'll run over it with their skidder. I'm not inclined to run over it with my tractor. But the slash is good for wildlife. It's good cover for rabbits, small animals like that. A lot of slash around the woods can make it difficult to get around. So that's why sometimes it's minimize the height. Aesthetically, too, if you have big piles of slash in the woods, if you're interested in how your woods look, it might not look the best. But nutrient-wise, it'll decay a lot quicker when it's cut down and closer to the ground. If you have slash that is piled up and is far off the ground, it never stays wet, it gets wet and then dries out, it's just going to take a long time for it to rot. So for putting nutrients back into the ground and for getting around is primarily my reason for cutting slash, you know, probably to 2 feet or less off the ground. So I don't even have to get back in my tractor before I see the next tree to deal with. It is right there. It's a bit of a leaner, but it is small. It's never going to amount to anything, and it may eventually tip over into my road, so I'm just going to cut it down, cut it up, and leave it as sort of that nutrient that we just got done talking about. So this is just sad. That looks like it's really bent quite a bit there. Again, I'll try to shake the snow off. These will not, I'm guessing they won't spring back enough for me to get under. I don't know, I may bring a rope out and try to tie it to one of those trees. So I think I'll do with these. I have a road actually down that way. I know I have a tree across. I think I'll go get, I have my winch and my snatch block, but I want to get a nylon strap so I can wrap it around the tree. Maybe try to upright it. And we'll see if that works. But for now, let's go deal with some other roads. love the mud. Well, they're upright. Whether they'll live or not, who knows. They lean back a little bit as the rope stretched and everything tightened up, but now that they're upright, I can always, you know, take a come along or even just a rope or push it or whatever. It's not going to take much to completely upright them. If I want to, I may just leave. I'm going to leave them now. Well, you can see it's just muddy. I mean, it's really just completely thawed dirt underneath the snow. So it's no fun of being out here. You get really wet. I mean, it's not uncomfortable. The wind's not blowing here in the woods, but it's just not fun. But I may run around a couple more roads to see if there's anything down that I can cut, since I have my chainsaws with me and my chainsaw pants on. Well, I don't know what prompted this, but that's not good. The chain came off sort of sideways. I'm not going to try to put it back on here, but I am going to try to take it off and then just drag it back to the house. I don't know where the link is, the master link. Oh boy. Almost reach around here. There we go. Just a cinch strap. Works really well for this particular application. You just don't want the hardware on here because you may crush it. And yes, I did change because my other my prison jumpsuit was soaking wet thanks to the warm, wet snow. Should do it. So it looks like one of these had come undone and the other one I think was still fastened. So these chains are connected by 4 points, one on this, the outboard side, one on the inboard side, and these funky looking links, which connect together actually sort of ingeniously. So I think once I get these on, I'll probably get, I don't know if I'll use bungee cords or if I'll buy a stretchy cord that's made for chains. I've not had an issue with these or my previous ring chains before. I'm not sure what happened. The other thing I could do, there's a hole here. If for some reason this did get snagged or came undone on its own, I can wire tie that. That's probably what that hole's there for. So with the inboard and outboard clasps, or whatever they're called, done, I can release my cinch cord, cinch strap. The only thing with these chains is you have to have them in a certain orientation to slide them in, and it's not always convenient, depending on how the chain lays, to get them correctly. And in this case, it's causing me a bit of issues. There we go. I know before when I put them on, and I've checked them after running them a bit, I never could take them up anymore. But maybe something was different this time around. Yeah, I can easily take up. But once I get loose, that's easy enough to take off by hand. I think that'll be enough. If I don't screw this back in, I will lose it. I took the inside one up, I think 2 or 3 lengths. I think this was up 1. See what that does. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what I'm going to get out of that one. There. So now I just got to connect these back again. Looks like it'll be a little bit closer. My dog doesn't like the sound of sliding or crashing snow or ice for some reason. So she hears that and she comes running. Gets as close to me as she possibly can. So I was able to take up, I think 2 more lengths on this after I rotated it. Nothing on the inside of this one, and this one I was able to take up 2 lengths. So I'm going to forego putting that lock wire in here, I think, because I didn't have an issue with this last couple years, but they are noticeably tighter. I guess my lesson is I do need to check them again after I've run them, putting them on for the first time. Well, the chains are back on. I did take it for a wet, muddy spin, and things seem to be fine. They seem to be still nice and tight, tighter than they were before. So I think when I first put them on, I just didn't have them on tight enough. I should have checked them after I took it for a quick spin after first putting them on. Anyhow, so we did some stuff, accomplished a little bit. Not what I was exactly expecting, but I didn't expect much with the wet and muddy conditions. But anyhow, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.